Welcome to CRE Unplugged, the Founder Series. I'm your host, Ryan Elazari. Nadine couldn't be with us today, but here we are to spotlight the founders and CEOs reimagining the future of commercial real estate from the ground up. Today's guest is Paul Zeckser, co-founder and CEO of LightTable. His platform helps developers identify and resolve errors in construction plans faster and more accurately, moving beyond the traditional process of sending drawings out to third-party reviewers. To date, LightTable has analyzed 2.5 million square feet of projects, including apartment buildings and retail developments. Today's guest saw the gap firsthand and decided to build a better way forward. And with that, I'm excited to introduce Paul Zeckser, co-founder and CEO of LightTable. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Ryan. I'm super pumped to be here. Appreciate it.
Well, New Year's was just a few days ago. Do you have any New Year's resolutions?
Oh man, I've been working on that because, I think you get a grace period of a few days before you have to lock it in. I wake up in the morning and I just go. There's no yellow light, there's no maybe, it's only like go, go, go. And I probably would benefit from just creating a little bit of that time in the morning. You take a couple deep breaths and thank the universe for the opportunity to be here. And so I'm gonna work on that in the morning. How about you? What are you doing new this year?
I've got a lot of things that I'm trying to get better at. I'm not a morning person like you, Paul, so I gotta train myself to wake up earlier. I've got two young kids, so
Yeah.
no matter what, I gotta wake up in the morning. I just gotta be more refreshed. I'm a night owl. I can't help it.
It's the particular challenge. I'd be curious. I'm married to the night owl. So whenever I got these big ambitions about my morning, the kids and the night owl always infringe on the ability to get sleep and make that happen. So
Yeah, well, it really worked when we had newborns and I could take the night shift and she took the morning shifts. But now we're just on opposite time of the schedules.
nice, nice, nice. Luckily.
Um, all right, well, I'm really happy you're here. I would love to talk about how Lighttable emerged after decades of leadership experience. How has that accumulated wisdom shaped your early product decisions in ways your 25-year-old self couldn't have matched?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, so I'm in my late 40s. I've been doing technology companies since 2004. That was the first startup I was part of, based in Boston. Man, if the if the version of me back then was trying to do light table, that would be pretty scary because I have had so many misses, so many failures, and a handful of successes along the way, all of which though have been pretty incredible learning experiences. I've been building software for contractors for well over a decade, worked in early stage companies. I've gone all the way through an IPO with Angie. So yeah, I think it'd be pretty nuts. If in fact I believe we're probably the Light Table team, probably one of the most seasoned teams in the space, in the construction tech space. Um, in addition to me and my background building technology companies for 20 years, one of my co-founders worked at SOM and Gensler, obviously two of the best architecture firms out there, and then the other has had over 15 years of experience in AI, coming out of Google. So I really am a big believer in expertise. Um, Someone was asking me a similar question the other day about how do you hustle, compete with these 20 somethings, and all the respect in the world to the 20 somethings who are hustling day and night on their startup. But I actually asked Gemini and what are the most successful tech companies, and I'll give you kind of the over under. The top 1% fastest growing US ventures, what do you think the average age is of the founder at the time of the founding?
Top 1%. I'm going to say 35,
It's 45.
45. Okay.
Isn't that cool?
He's
And
up.
then of those that IPO, what do you think the average age is?
50,
Yeah, it goes up. It's 47. And
47.
so bottom line stat is companies that are founded by people in their late 40s or 50s are 2x more likely to have a successful exit than those that are founded by people in their 20s and 30s. And I think a lot of that is expertise. In addition to our founding team, we've brought in people who have been working on construction sites, have been drawing, have been doing the engineering work, like so real AEC expertise, and they sit next to our AI engineers. So I'm a big believer in building out teams with a lot of expertise, especially domain expertise when you're building technology companies. And it's, I hope so far, knock on wood, some of my misses from earlier in my career are helping us prevent or avoid mistakes that other startups might be making.
There's so much I want to unpack here. One thing that I would love to talk about here is when I've gone to real estate tech conferences, one common theme that I really see is you've got all these different booths, and you kind of start developing and seeing a theme where there are a lot of tech companies who understand the tech but don't understand the real estate construction side.
Mm,
And you've
totally.
got a lot of companies who do understand the construction real estate side, but they don't understand the tech. So I love how the fact that you're bringing all that elements into one with your two co-founders. So do you feel that that was something that was a no question asked? That's how we have to build. We have to have all that knowledge, all that growth, so that we could be better with than our competitors.
Yeah, I think 100%. And someone told me early in the job of the CEO is MVP, money, vision, people. And on the people side, that has been my philosophy from hour one is okay, what am I bringing to the table? There's some unique skill sets around building tech and software. I was a product person for a long time, worked a lot with contractors, but I was missing the big construction experience, right? And so we brought in people that work on $100 million plus projects, multifamily, commercial, hospitality, infrastructure. And then we brought in folks, PhD or working on their PhDs, postdoc students in computer vision, in large language models, in AI engineering, in machine learning. And that's the wisdom, I think, of early stage companies. You got to bring in people who are really world class. And
Yeah.
ideally, they're in different pockets. And then we put them together, like we literally physically sit them together and we say, we're going to all learn from each other and we're going to build something the customer, the end user really loves, but is technologically built in the right way.
Yeah, I think that's very important. And something that I've also been reading a lot about is founders are in this situation right now where they're grappling behind being liked from their employees instead of focusing on their goals when it really should be the other way around. Is that something that you deal with on a daily basis?
It's a good question. We haven't, I mean, I've managed a lot of people for a lot of years. I found the way you kind of just can get the most out of people and also hopefully they maintain a fairly positive opinion of you is just be transparent. Like, be honest, be open, be transparent. Be transparent about is your product any good or is it crap? Be transparent about where the sales numbers are at. Be transparent on we're going to hire some new people. Be transparent about we're changing the policy, no more free lunches, like whatever. Like
Right.
talk about the company and let everyone on the team in on like the inner thinking of the founding team and the leadership team. Two reasons. One, they're going to make better information, better decisions because they're going to have access to more information. And two, I think it creates a sense of trust, right? And so it's like we're all in this together. We're all trying to row in the same direction, play off the same sheet of music, whatever you want to say. And then you don't create so much this tension between like, am I liked or am I this, like I got to push people to get the most out of them and maybe they won't like me as much, but at least company be successful. Like I find you can get both when you're transparent.
Transparency is a lot of people are always worried about that because of the word, right? It's being too open, you're revealing too much. It
Right.
could lead to problems, but it seems for you it's working out well. I want to talk about how in the built world, there's so much downstream chaos that originates in pre-construction.
Yeah.
What are the most like striking examples you've seen where better pre-con planning could have been prevented to prevent major issues or rework?
Yeah. The first time I sat down with my co-founder, Ben, the architect, we were in Seattle and he was talking me through like when this like light bulb first went off with him, he was working on some plans and ChatGPT had just come out with their first model and he fed some of the plans in. It's like, hey, help me find some of the errors, some of the omissions, and he was pretty surprised that like it actually was generating some interesting outputs. And so that was like first step with LightTable, and then there's another chapter. There's like a whole bunch of like research around what do developers think in terms of different product ideas, what architects, engineers, GCs think, and um, we ended up narrowing in on the pain of the existing peer review process or the QA QC process. And that pain is, hey, I need to get these drawings checked. We're going to go to bid and we're at 100% CD or whatever the case may be. And we're going to go start pricing these out. I probably should get them checked. I want to make sure that there's no big errors or omissions in it. And you ask a very qualified and capable team to look through thousands of pages of specs and hundreds of sheets of drawings. And you give them a very limited amount of time. And you're like, all right, how's it look? And they're like, well, we flagged some stuff. And, the reality of that situation is at best, 30 to 50% of design driven change orders are caught in a human process. So that leaves like 70% still on the table, which is why then you have so many design driven change orders during projects. And so that's really what LightTable is meant to solve. We're going to go find the sleeping giants in the design documents before they come big change orders. So you asked for an example now. I'll give you one. There's so many. I'll give you one. We were working with a company who's building a large multifamily complex, 7, 8 stories. There's a couple hundred units in it. The electrical drawings showed that the wiring for the garbage disposal should come up to the backsplash, come up through the backsplash behind the sink. The interior design drawings showed one of those really sleek, what are they called? The garbage disposal is just that tiny little button. It's sunk into the countertop right behind the sink.
Right.
They didn't catch that until the counters had been installed. And then someone said, how are we gonna connect this to electricity? It ended up being a $280,000 change order across all the units. And I'll talk about how we did this in a second, but LightTable flagged that issue. So LightTable looked at the two different sets of drawings and we identified that the electricity was being run one place, but the garbage disposal was going to be installed somewhere else. And it created a comment and said, hey, you got a problem here. If you don't fix it, it's going to be an issue. And so that's what LightTable does. We uncover what will become change orders during the design phase when it's much cheaper, much faster to fix.
And do you feel that this is something that is not being done by a lot of different teams that are out there, and that's why you decided to create something like this?
I think there is some teams that are not doing it. There are some teams that are doing it and they're doing the best they can with what's available today from a people and technology perspective. The perspective, though, that I take with LightTable is AI is unlocking a whole new level of comprehensiveness and speed that's just never been possible before. So we can run a 500 sheets of drawings and 2,000 pages of specs through our AI and have a comprehensive QA QC completed in under 12 hours. Today, if you asked a human team to do it, it might take them a month. We'll catch 6x on average, 6x the number of issues that the human team catches over the course of a month. Our
Wow.
AI will then prioritize that and say critical, high, medium, low, based on the possible size of either the delay or the change order if this issue is not fixed. So that's just a step change in what's done today. So some teams, yeah, hire peer review, other developers don't. But the reality is, whatever they're doing, what AI unlocks is 10x where we are today as an industry.
Yeah, speaking of AI, you've got OpenAI and Anthropic, Google, they're racing towards agentic capabilities. So many are wondering like whether these vertical solutions will eventually be replaced, right? So how do you build a company that stays indispensable no matter how powerful these foundational models are?
Yeah, that's a great question. Obviously, every vertical AI company like LightTable gets this question. I think about it in a few ways. The first is I touched on this point earlier. Like domain expertise is so critical. The idea that brilliant computer scientists in Silicon Valley are going to build something that is going to, like map perfectly into what someone at, Trammell Crow or Graystar or Heinz is going to want to use. Like that's pretty far fetched. I also think there's examples of this if you look at earlier chapters of technology. So let's rewind back to like the mobile revolution, right? iPhone comes out in '07, pretty like robust iOS and Android app stores are coming online '09, 2010, 2011. And there was a lot of questions. I was very active at building product at that time and building mobile products at that time. There was a lot of question. Well, is it worth making apps of your own? Won't Apple with gobs of money or Google with gobs of money just make the same app? And in some cases, we saw that, right? A mail app, a browser app, a weather app. Like sometimes it just was like, these are really straightforward apps and they're going to embed it on the phone. iOS and Google never went out to try to make a marketplace app for transportation that matches up drivers with people who need rides to the airport, right? No, Uber and Lyft did just great there. Airbnb, like, so there's certain verticals where I think you need a whole nother level of expertise, whether it's managing the inventory or understanding really complex situations. And I'm a pretty strong believer that this chapter of technology will follow a similar curve. The last thing I'll say here is we're building in a way where we are excited about every time a new update comes out. Gemini 3 comes out, we're like, great. I hope it can do this, this, and this better because then our product gets better. So we're kind of built on top of their improvements, not in competition with their improvements.
Well, I don't know if you know Zach Aaron's, but he talks about how there's like 300 AI solutions right now that are wrapped around the foundational models, and they will go extinct once these models get updated. So, how is your company different from those other ones that might, lose their shirt?
Yeah. Well, first off, definite shout out to Zach. Metaprop invested in us. Metaprop co-incubated us with Primary Venture. So we love those guys. And Zach's 100% right. And it's because when you're getting into the vertical AI space, your chief technology officer is going to make, I think, a very critical decision. One is I'm going to look at how humans do it today, whatever the vertical AI is. It can be construction, it can be medical, it can be legal. I'm going to look at how humans do it today, and I'm going to build a step-by-step process that follows the humans through, and it's just going to do A, then do B, then do C. It's like you're doing a self-driving car to the airport, and it's like step one, open the garage. Step two, put it in reverse. Step three, back it out. The problem with that approach is you're in competition with the large language models, with the vision models. And as they improve, they're going to eliminate the need to go step by step by step. Do this check, then this check, then this check. We did not pick that route. We picked a different route. Our route, in summary, for a non-technical person, which is what I am, is we're basically saying use all the tools that you have available to you to go find the biggest problem in these design documents that's going to lead to the most expensive change order. And then we give it all these interesting like capabilities, like zooming into drawings in a certain way and comparing different sets of drawings. But the North Star objective or the North Star prompt is don't let anything big get by and turn into a change order. And so I think that approach is unique for us. And it's why we benefit from improvements in these models and are not fighting against them.
That's really great. And I think something that's also really interesting about your company is how you allow unlimited users to use LightTable, and it kind of breaks away from the traditional SaaS pricing. So what made you think like this was the right model for construction and development teams?
Yeah. We looked at how those teams work today, and as I've mentioned before, several people at LightTable came out of that space and know these workflows really, really well. And we said, okay, what's typically the number one problem? It's lack of coordination. Like the architectural and the structural engineering plans are not coordinated, the specs and the drawings are not coordinated, et cetera. So why would we come up and institute a pricing model that discourages coordination and collaboration, right? If you charge per seat or you charge per run, like then you're creating this incentive where people are like, I want to hold back. I don't want to let Ryan see what we're doing.
Yeah.
I got to pay another $500. Or if I run it a second time and show the engineering team, that costs money. So we just say, let's swing the absolute polar opposite. Let's go unlimited users, unlimited usage, unlimited file uploads, check as many times as you want, put everyone on the platform, give them all the collaboration tools, and then just charge one time for the project. And so that's what we do because we want to encourage teams to collaborate. We want them all to have a chance to use this new technology and not be gated behind, I'm not going to buy you a seat because it's not in my budget.
Do you see that this may end up being the future of SaaS? Because like with right now, you've got CoStar. I mean, you literally have to go through security measures that I don't even think it takes to get into the White House. So what where do you see the future going now?
Yeah, I love that. I think each industry might look a little bit different, but I'm gonna guess there's some similarities too, which is, we used to talk about, hey, software, you want to be like the system of record, like Procore, we're the system of record for the construction phase, et cetera. Autodesk, we're the system of record for the design phase, and they all want to kind of get in each other's business. I think the new vocabulary is who's going to be the system of work. Like, where is the work actually being performed? Not just where are humans pushing buttons and like moving things around. Like, with Lighttable and other similar AI native companies, what you're talking about is a human expert overseeing the work being done by a machine. And so in the legal world, that probably means a movement away from billable hours. It probably means project-based pricing. Flight table goes out, we run it, we raise an A round of financing. Maybe our legal team just says flat fee is X to manage your A round. And behind the scenes, they're using all these tools, they're not tracking their hours. You could see something similar in other industries. So I think with construction, you'll have a system of work where experts are directing agents to go perform certain tasks and then giving final approval before that task is completed.
You talk about collaboration, and it's you've taken this contrarian stance and being bullish on the office. So, what moments inside Lighttable have shaped that belief and shown you that working in the same physical space produces outcome you wouldn't get otherwise?
Well, first off, it would be highly hypocritical of me to go try to pitch a major commercial developer on our
Right.
services if I told them we were all remote.
Right.
No, we believe in the office. We're headquartered in Denver. We have a few employees that are not living in Denver, but they fly in very routinely. But north of 80% of our company is here, and we work at it. We work out of an office. I was really worried when I first took that stance that we would get pushback, especially hiring technology professionals. And it's been the opposite. We hired a guy over the summer. He's an AI engineer. And between when he graduated and this summer, The only job, it was all post-COVID, so he's a younger guy. He'd only worked remotely. And the week before he started, we invited him to come to the office. We're doing a happy hour, like welcome him and all this stuff. And in the happy hour, he was like, "This is so amazing. Like I've never hung out with my coworkers before." And we routinely talk about like the benefit we get from being in person. And what's interesting is I kind of thought we were the aberration. And then I went and I looked this up. Of all, and this is across all tech companies, not just construction tech, it could be big tech, little tech, startups, across all construction companies, for all jobs that were posted in Q3, 55% of them said in office. And then about 30% of them said hybrid. And then that leaves whatever 15-ish that are remote only. So I think there's a really big swing back. And you always hear in the news like Amazon's mandating 5 days in office. But I
Yeah.
think for startups, I was actually told by a venture capitalist, they put a premium on the value of a company if everyone is in person, and they put a discount on the value of the company if everyone is remote.
Yeah, I definitely see a tide shifting there. I teach a real estate entrepreneurship class, and all my students do feel that they get a lot more work done by being at the office, and they just seem more productive. And I just see the wave really, even though it's taking some time, you're going to gradually see more people coming back because they realize that the collaboration that you talk about, Paul, is so important, and being able to be with real people and communicating with them and mentoring and all that good culture that you need when you're trying to reach a common goal.
Imagine being a young person coming out of college or coming out of high school, moving straight into the trades. Imagine if 80, 90% plus of your time you're in your own apartment, right? On a computer. Like, I don't know about you, Ryan, but like the majority of what I think I took away from my first 10 years, maybe 15 years in my professional work life wasn't just like what does the boss say, but what do they do? Like
Yeah.
when, what time is he coming into the office? When he's taking meetings, is the door open or closed? When he convenes the whole company to deliver bad news, like has he like all of that was like all of our senses. It wasn't just through the screen. So much of my learning as a professional came that way. I think most of us who have been in the work world for a while would say the same thing. So then to deprive like this next generation of all that, it's like that's crazy. Like we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot and talking about our training up our future workforce.
I think that's the life lessons that people need to see and hear so
Yeah,
that they could become the leaders that they want to be in the future.
yeah,
You want to be able to shadow or and see what your bosses are doing, like you said, so that you can kind of see what's working and what's not, and then use that as lessons that you could take on.
yeah, 100%.
I really would love to talk about this. So you're a CU Boulder alum, and I saw that the Deming Center Venture Fund invested in your company.
Yeah.
So it was probably like a full circle moment for you, right? So what does that like support mean to you, and how did that shape your confidence or direction as a founder?
Yeah, they invested in us and then like a month or a month and a half after we announced our seed and we came out of stealth, I was taking my daughter to a high school football game. She's an eighth grader. She was visiting a potential high school she might want to attend, and we wanted to see what Friday night lights was like there. And I got a message from my chief of staff, who also happens to be a University of Colorado graduate. He came out of the MBA program there. He just said, "Hey, the president of CU, the whole CU system, so all four campuses, the president of CU just posted about us on LinkedIn. He like was like talking about LightTable." And so it has been super fun. I mean, I graduated from CU in 99 with an international affairs degree. Um, but we have several other people at LightTable who have connections to CU and getting not just the financial support, but also like connections to several professors there, professors of computer vision and engineering, um, professors in the business school, and then obviously the president of the university posting about you. It's been really special, and you know, makes me want to be a successful Colorado company and like give back to that ecosystem. And hopefully we do really well and we can continue hiring graduates. And I'm just all about the like, how can we all like help each other improve the environments we're in? And in our case, we're in the Denver Boulder startup ecosystem. We want to make it as successful for everybody as possible.
I really love that. And I think these venture funds are being backed by universities is such a great idea. And I think it should be done by all universities to really pay it forward and help support your alumni so they could become successful and then they want to give it back to the school. I think it's such a great thing.
Yeah, thanks. I do too.
All right. Well, thank you, Paul, for joining us. This was such a great conversation. I really wish you and the Light Table team all the success.
Thanks so much, Ryan. I really love the chance coming on your show. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Be sure to stay tuned for my recap. One of the biggest takeaways from today's conversation is that real progress doesn't come from moving faster. It comes from moving with more precision. I think about that with LeBron James here. At this stage of his career, he's less about pure athleticism and he's more of a surgeon on the court, and yet he's still just as productive as ever. That's how I think about AI as well. When it's applied thoughtfully, it's not about replacing people, it's about sharpening judgment, surfacing risk earlier, and letting teams focus on things that really matter. We also spent talking about adoption and how removing friction, whether that's pricing, access, or process, often exposes where the real value really is. And in the world that's becoming more remote and more automated, today was a good reminder that alignment, shared context, and experience still matter, especially when the stakes are high. Paul's journey is a great example of how experience, conviction, and focus can come together to solve real problems in industry. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks again to Paul Zeckser, CEO and co-founder of LightTable. Please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts. If you have any questions that you want us to answer on air, you can email us at info@creunplug.com, or you could reach us at www.creunplug.com. See you next time, and keep your conversations real and unplugged.